In my previous video, I described the process of how I took a script that I wrote, actually in Hebrew, not even in English, and turned it into a book in English. So, and I end up with the question, do I have the rights, the copyrights for this book after I use ChatGPT in order to write that book? And the answer is a bit complicated. First of all, it is important to say a few things. A disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer. I am quite an experienced scriptwriter, but here in Israel, and copyrights are a bit different in each territory, so you need to check what's the status in your country. I'm talking because I wrote this book in English and I published it on Amazon. So what's important for me is to get a copyright in the United States. And for that, I went and first checked, by the way, with the help of a lawyer, the guidelines. So let's see what copyright, the US Copyright Office published regarding using AI. As you can see here, this is what the United States Copyright Office published regarding the copyright registration guidance. Works containing material generated by artificial intelligence. It's a long document that I guess you need to be at least a lawyer or with some sort of a laws background in order to fully understand. So thankfully people kind of gave the bottom line. So in this article, which I'm going to paste description below, it's talking about a very famous case. It's called the Kashtanada case. It's about a woman that made a graphic novel using Midjourney and filed for copyright, and they told her she doesn't have it. And the bottom line regarding, if we're talking about text, okay, and what about AI generated text? So the bottom line, if you do no editing at all, then it seems that the Copyright Office policy is clear. No copyright. Anything can take your book and sell it under their own name. And if you use the AI for idea generation and some outlines and background research and write the text yourself, then is that clear. Okay, you do have copyrights. Okay, so almost the opposite of what people think. People think that if you have the idea and you just tell ChatGPT to write it down, then you're protected, you have copyrights. That's not the case. Actually, it's the other way around. If the ideas come from ChatGPT and you write it yourself, you got copyright, because the important things about getting the copyright is that you did the job. It was your doing that is important. And if it's the other way around, if it's your idea, you tell it what to do, but he specifically write it, then you don't have a copyright. But so that's the simple case right now. But like I said, in the way I do it, it's a bit more complicated, because the script, I did write the script, the entire script, the heroes, the places, the dialogue that are used in that book, I wrote it, and I do have rights for the script. So first of all, I get a copyright registration on the script, and then based on that, I file a registration for this book, hopefully to get that. According to my lawyer, I do have a case, because it's not like ChatGPT wrote it by itself, basically generally by some ideas that I gave it. I'm going to keep you posted on the procedure, and when I get it, I will sure celebrate it with you. I took this document and obviously pasted it in ChatGPT and asked it to summarize it and give me the bottom line. So here is the bottom line of ChatGPT.
Based on the document you provided, here are the necessary conditions to obtain copyright for a fiction book written using ChatGPT. Human authorship requirement. The work must be the product of human creativity. The term author used in both the Constitution and the Copyright Act excludes non-humans. The office's registration policies and regulations reflect statutory and judicial guidance on this issue. Human control over AI output. If a work's traditional elements of authorship were produced by a machine, the work lacks human authorship and the office will not register it. For example, when an AI technology receives solely a prompt from a human and produces complex written, visual, or musical works in response, the traditional elements of authorship are determined and executed by the technology, not the human user. Human selection or arrangement of AI-generated material. A work containing AI-generated material will also contain sufficient human authorship to support a copyright claim if a human selects or arranges AI-generated material in a sufficiently creative way that the resulting work as a whole constitutes an original work of authorship. Duty to disclose AI-generated content. Applicants have a duty to disclose the inclusion of AI-generated content in a work submitted for registration and to provide a brief explanation of the human author's contributions to the work.
So this is another reason why I have to file a registration for copyright, also declaring that I use ChatGPT in order to get this copyright. I mean, I could file it without saying I use ChatGPT, but if it was revealed in the end, then I would lose the copyright. So, and the last thing, let's see what ChatGPT told me about my chances of getting a copyright registration.
As for the chances of getting a copyright registration for a fiction book, created in the way you described, it seems like it could be possible. The process you described involves significant human input and creativity at multiple stages: writing the original script, translating it, processing it into a book using ChatGPT, and then having a human editor write the entire book. This process appears to meet the requirement of human authorship and creative control over the work's expression. However, this is just an interpretation based on the document provided, and it would be best to consult with a legal professional to get a definitive answer.
People say, and this is in my experience true, that ChatGPT is a bit optimistic. So I also, like I said, consult and use a real human lawyer. And gladly she says that I do have a case, so I'll keep you posted.